Bonjour et bienvenue à ce webinaire sur l'équité des genres. Welcome to this webinar about gender equity. My name is Karine Dumontier and I'm a Gender Equity Program Manager at OTTA, and I'm with Joyce Xu, Athlete Commission and Gender Equity Committee Member. Mon nom est Karine Dumontier, je suis la responsable du programme d'équité des genres en tennis de table Canada et je suis avec Joyce Xu qui est membre de la commission des athlètes et membre du comité sur l'équité des genres à tennis de table Canada. Tonight we are very lucky to have three special people from Ontario Table Tennis Association, Rosa Zang, Betty Zareba, and Diane Papich. The webinar will be in English and I will translate the key points at some point. Tennis de table Canada reconnaît les territoires autochtones, reconnaît que ses bureaux à Ottawa sont situés sur le territoire non cédé de la nation algonquine Anishinaabe. Table Tennis Canada acknowledges that our offices located in Ottawa are on the unceded, unsurrendered territory of the Anishinaabe Algonquin Nation. So we are ready tonight for our presentation about female leaders. I will introduce you to our special guest. We have Betty Zareba that is working for OTTA since 2019. She is a board member and high performance coordinator involved in different organization events like Ontario Summer Games, Canadian Championship, Regional Cup tournaments, team manager for Canada Winter Games. So welcome, Betty.
Thank you.
Betty est membre du CA de Ontario Tennis de table et impliquée dans l'organisation de divers tournois, dont les championnats canadiens, les gérants d'équipe pour les Jeux du Canada. We have Rosa Zang. Hello, Rosa. Rosa is... do you want to introduce yourself, Rosa?
Yeah,
what are you doing at OTTA?
Yeah, I'm a volunteer of OTTA.
Mm-hmm.
I started umpire also job like about 7-8 years ago. I like it, and then last year I passed a national referee test evaluation, and I'm a certified national referee now and a national umpire.
Congratulations, Rosa. Thank you to be with us tonight. And we have Diane Papich. Did I say well your name, Diane?
It's Diane, yeah, but that's okay,
Yeah.
No worries.
Okay. Diane is working for OTTA as a manager and program and operations. Do you want to add something about your role with OTTA, Diane?
Well, that's up. I would say this is when it comes to the paid job, that's practically the most senior position. We have in OTTA just one part-time and one even less part-time job that we pay. My position is actually equivalent to the executive director, but I refuse to be called the executive director because it sounds very bombastic. It doesn't reflect the real funding of OTTA, and so it doesn't, like it's some kind of protest to the ministry, and I tell them when you start funding us well, maybe we'll change our titles. Till this, I will be just more descriptive, position of manager of programs. So.
Thank you so much, Diane. Alors, Diane travaille pour tennis de table, Ontario Tennis de table, comme l'équivalent d'un directeur général, mais il n'a pas le titre de directeur général pour toutes sortes de raisons. Tonight, the presentation, the idea of the presentation came when the Gender Equity Committee received all the results of the project that gender equity give some funding for 10 different projects last year, and Ontario did 2 different projects. And when we get all the results, we were very impressed about everything that has been done in Ontario Table Tennis Association, and we wanted to show and to share these what you did as an example that maybe could give some idea to other provinces to go on the same way, in the same way as you did, because you did very great with great result. I don't know, Dan, if you want to talk about the result, or you want me to, maybe we don't hear you so well, so maybe I can summarize the result that we got from you.
Yeah, please do this, Catherine.
Yeah.
It's much better because we are recording this. Yeah.
Okay, and I have my glasses to be sure that I see well. So in your final report, OTTA said that you communicate with all affiliated clubs, staff, visited following Ontario affiliated club, and you name them. And the main purpose for that was to identify following women leaders. So you had a total of 12 identified and expected. You expected to make it an update later, but 12 women that were identified in the province to be a leader. You also conducted a survey among officials and high performance center coaches. And out of 21 active officials, 20% are women. So the other things that you mentioned was 11 coaches working with in high performance centers from club to national level. 5 are women, so a little bit less than 50%. That's quite impressive. And in your document, you explain a little bit why you wanted to identify, to name all the women that were involved. So can you explain a little bit why you did that? In that project, it was important to do that. I don't know who wants to talk about that.
Maybe I can add, as long as you can hear me well. If not, I can stop talking. But
yes, we can hear you, Dan. We can hear you.
It's more important to understand where the road that we came in 10 years. It's not easy to really change these percentages from year to year. It takes a long time. But when I started with Ontario Table Tennis Association, there was only one female official, it was Laureen Chambers. And there it was, I speak about 2010, 2011. There was no coach females. And there was no any females working as a leaders in a club, like a president, owners, or something like that. So and there was none on a board or any committee. So we really went a long way, and this is what we are very proud. Beside that, for us, Ontario Games, which we participate every 2 years, was a good key performance indicator where we standing. So at the beginning, 2010, on Ontario Games, we have only, I think, about maybe less than 20% of women participating. And this year, when Betty was OTTA representative, in a 12 years period, we are practically on a 50% when it comes to overall athletes, officials, coaches. So it was about 50%. And both Betty and Joyce were present on this, one as a OTTA representative and the other one as a coach. So I think that's a quite a big step forward, and there is still a lot of area that needs improvement, but I believe that we are on the right way. And in the beginning, in the first few years, I had only helped with one parent who was very unselfishly helping. It's uh, I forgot the name. Jesus, it's a Wendy Chen. Yes, she helped a lot, um, and she was really almost doing everything like Betty at the beginning. But we didn't want to have parents on a board. We want the board to be very conflict of interest free, and it's actually to the same extent this applies to the club owners. We don't want the club owners or directors of a big clubs to prevail to be present on a board because it can be conflict of interest. Only we support very small clubs, very amateur clubs that they're not 24/7, business. Otherwise, we would have much more female representation on our board. But I feel in this moment is not a big obstacle. And one, for example, good example is Rosa, that she's here by her attitude, by the trust that she has in Ontario table tennis community. For sure, she deserves the place on a board. She was also the mother of Joy Sue. And it's not that she would be impartial, but because we don't want to open the door for any other parents, sometimes parents can be very aggressive. So she just work in our committee, and so, because Joyce changed her position, so very soon that would I have anticipated in the next years we have more percentage of the female representation on the board. So things are moving slowly. We don't force the issue, just identify the coaches, officials, people who wants to contribute. That if they really have true interest, we make sure to find a room for them. But we are not doing anything special except that.
Okay, and did you find it very useful? Did you find some new women that get involved because you identify them? Dan?
No, I think it's that the it turns out that like we first want to send the survey, but unfortunately I spoiled the table tennis community. It's very much, I would say, the culture Chinese way that you need to meet people in a club, go to lunch, see what's going. So this survey was practically done on one-to-one basis, and I usually visit the clubs at least 2-3 times in a year each club, except if they are very far from Toronto, like Sudbury and Ottawa. But all these leaders we talk with them. Some of them are practically leading the clubs, and it turns out that from administrative point of view, from a business point of view, they are very successful. So we have Gang Academy in Ottawa. This is Gang Lijuan, former world champions. They have the club that operates for many years. We have in Toronto, my table tennis Markham, one venue with about 12 tables. It's operated with Jill. It's a race wife, practically totally independent, and she takes care of business administration and finances. So it really works good for them as a family business, and for us implicitly as Ontario table tennis. There is also a leading role in a new club that is Oakville Table Tennis Community Center that was only led by 3 ladies, and they have new affiliated club. It was not part of last year project, but nevertheless, it's a good for the gender equity. And they have some of the activities that are related to the people with the problems with autism, and it's really very good at what are they doing for a society. We have the national team member, May Tong, who is doing the similar project only for people with dementia. She opened the club, and they're dealing only with helping dementia patients, with twice or once a week training. So we have Grace Zhang, who is the owner of Grace Table Tennis Academy, coming 2-3 national players from the club, very successful. Also, the club is expanding. We have also in my table tennis Waterloo, one of the mother of James Liu. She is practically taking care of administration. So we found out that, and maybe I'm wrong here, but really some of our women leaders are very pragmatical, and they make those clubs sustainable. And besides expertise and the things that what we have with Betty and Rosa on our committees and coaches that are really practically prevailing, even female coaches in Ontario in a certain way. I think this is for me new discovery. That's if the women are giving a chance to take care of table tennis club as a business, that's very successful.
Thank you, Diane. Betty, do you have something to add about what Diane said?
Actually, Diane recapped very well, but I wanted to add that the Oakville Community Table Tennis Association, this is a fairly new club, and the initiatives that they are doing and pursuing are really good by promoting the table tennis within the communities, because it is a community club, but they're really aggressive, and they have good contacts within the government, provincial government, and they are successful in promoting table tennis within Oakville. And hopefully in the future they will grow and will be promoting table tennis within the province, and maybe next step is national, who knows. But these ladies, kudos to those ladies and the work they're doing.
Can you repeat the name of the club, Betty?
It's Oakville Community Table Tennis Association.
Okay.
If you go on OTTA website, there is an article about the latest tournament that they had for children with autism. So you can get some information from there as well.
Thank you. That's very interesting to know.
Just that you know, and they recruited one of the national team players. It's Nicole Tsai to help them. So they really put pretty much a lot of women around the project.
Okay, I will just summarize in French for our French community. Diane a parlé du projet de Ontario Tennis de table. En 2010, quand ils ont commencé, ils avaient seulement quelques femmes, une femme seulement qu'il n'y avait aucune femme sur le CA de OTTA. Il n'y avait pas d'entraîneur féminin non plus, et la participation féminine des joueuses était moindre. Et en 10 ans, presque 12 ans maintenant, les statistiques sont bien meilleures avec plus de femmes et plus de succès. Plusieurs clubs qui ont des administratrices qui sont des femmes et qui ont beaucoup de succès là, dans leur club respectif. Betty nous a parlé aussi d'un club qui fait qui fait la promotion du tennis de table pour les enfants autistes. Et elle nous parlait d'un article sur le site internet de OTTA qui parlait de ce club. Donc, beaucoup de succès pour les femmes en Ontario. Et peut-être le fait d'avoir identifié par un sondage a permis aussi de mieux les connaître et de les mettre de l'avant. Another part of the project was to about governance. If I see the governance, you did not have a female on the board before Betty joined the board at OTTA. Maybe, Betty, you can talk about your role on the board and what you like and what does it change to have a woman on the board now that you are there with all the directors?
My role on the board is high performance coordinator. I'm one of the directors on the board. What I like working with the board is that any decisions that we have to make, it's being made together, not in isolation. Also, I guess challenges is everybody on the board, I believe, are volunteers. So this is not their main job. I'm also a volunteer. So we're just doing as much as we can with the time that we can spend on working on the initiatives, on the projects. So it says a lot about the commitment that the board members have and dedication that allows us to move forward and have those results in gender equity and, running tournaments and having good relationships with all the clubs, helping the clubs. I'm actually enjoying this role very much.
Great.
I need to say something here because I believe that both and Ross and Betty and Joyce very modest personality. The truth is that Ontario board, as Betty explained very nicely, is practically volunteers. It's because of this conflict of interest, you don't have people who are busy with table tennis day to day, and they're practically public control. What are we doing? Stuff, finances, tournaments, selections, and things like this, that there is not a big issue. And I'm very thankful to the board for this. But Betty added totally new dimensions to this because she spends in this moment most of the time of any other board members. So I would say that on a day-to-day operations, she really helps me a lot. And me, not only me, and to Michael Markovic, who works as our admin manager. So she really added put a new bar, new level, what has to be done by the board member. So it's really a great help that I received from that.
And Diane, what does it change to have a woman on the board now? Does it change something?
Board is not like this is the concept of OTTA. One, what is ministry suggested to us is that we have very active board members. It turns out that if you want to have very active board members, these are usually some parents, and not nice parents like Rosa here, but parents who are trying to gain something for their kids. Or at the beginning, there was a club representative who want to see what is there for them there. So that was completely changed to totally independent and totally zero conflict of interest. that nobody complains. So that's very good. So nothing changed except that Betty brought a new dynamics that I hope that some people are doing, more in a background with, like a treasurer, like a president who's dealing with the legal issues, with the ministry. But on a day-to-day operations, for example, for high performance, for best tournaments, Betty is really the essential part of it. With her, we started many new things. One of the things is that we have is, and she organized quite well last year, and this year we are waiting this at the end of the year to give annual awards. We did it a little bit complicated way that there is voting, there is candidates, there is a nice presentation. And this way also we found out that, when you do all this nomination, then you find out that one of the reasons why we speak about gender equity is that most of these, when you have female players, male players, one coach, we have official of the year. So, for example, last year, Rosa was official of the year. And it's very personality, very quiet and very professional. She doesn't take nonsense, or at the work, but something special attention to herself, it's always special attention to work. And I think that's generally also, and for our coaches as well. So they don't demand some special fame or they're not heavy. It's really the true help, very light help, but in a volume a lot, So it doesn't come with some psychological or other heaviness that many times, when people, they would like to go some tournaments because they help here or there, or they're from their club. Okay, so these are really with a female representing zero heaviness. I'm so grateful for this. That helps a lot to run an organization who is not well funded.
Wow, that's nice to hear, Betty. I will just summarize what you said, Diane and Betty, about governance. And if you want to add something, Betty, go ahead. You can also add something about that. Sur le CA de Ottawa Tennis de table, I will say, je vais appeler OTTA, ça va être plus rapide. Diane a parlé de la grande participation des femmes au conseil d'administration. Elle a parlé des terminologies du travail de Betty, du travail de Rosa. Ça semble être une grande aide que l'ajout de ces femmes au conseil d'administration. Il a insisté aussi sur le fait qu'il n'y avait pas de conflit d'intérêts, étant donné que ce ne sont pas des parents. Puis je pense que dans le passé, ça a peut-être été le cas. We are ready for another question. I guess you would like to have more female on the board. You would like to have more female coaches.
With female coaches, we are really satisfied. It's coming to the equal. We would more only for female coaches. We would like, and that leadership role, because many times they're, when it's some decision making, they're quiet. Coaching requires sometimes to be vocal, to be leader. So this is what we need to do with them. But when it comes to the numbers, we are very pleased.
So it's good for coaches, for officials and leaders. I guess you would like to have more women involved.
For officials, I think for officials, I think best is Rosa speaks. We have much more than before, but not close to this 50%. And I think it's best if Rosa can speak about, and I would like to learn also, what are maybe specifics or a female or a male official. because it's still, this is, I think, for officials and for a para table tennis, this is the area that we need to improve a lot.
Rosa, would you like to talk about your experience as a female official?
Yeah, I think recently, actually, as I see more officials like umpires during the tournament, I think it's a good sign. I know Diane has been doing a very good job, promote to promote female coaches and female umpires. All those officials, give them a chance. For example, like he told me, I have give me some grant money, and if I go to international stage to get my international referee certificate or something, he tries to give me like the opportunity. And also it's not just me, and also it's the other players and coaches. So I think from this part of the point of view, I think OTTA or the really tries to promote table tennis and try to get more female coaches and officials involved.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's a very
So
good.
you feel that you have the
initiative.
confidence of, sorry, Rosa, I just, you feel that you have the confidence of OTTA to, as a female official? That's what you say?
Yes, I'm very confident. Yeah, it's recently, because I'm studying. I actually didn't spend a lot of time on the tournament like Betty or Diane right now is doing. But I think after I finish my study, I think I'll do more to try to help them.
Okay.
I think, Rosa, again, you are too modest. You this year you are busy. You find a way, and that's also something that many times we don't appreciate. You know, Rosa found time for a tournament that is on our. We divided all tournaments in a 3-4 groups. You know, one is Ontario Championship, Ontario Games. Another one is we have something called Cups, which would be like circuit in Quebec, and then we have some local tournament challenges. So Rosa show up on one of the challenges, which is way below her level. And then she also finished this year. We had a seminar or either educational webinar or educational in live. I think it was in live. I think with Jeff Long, that she's practically now certified in Ontario. She can teach other referees up to provincial level to give them a certification. So she really did maximum probably what she could considering her busy schedule. And that's something that with a female, we need to be patient because they don't like to be pushed. That's what I also learned, you know, through coaching. It's with the guys, with the boys, you can be a little bit pushy, and they will push back and not much hard feelings. With the female, I think we really need to behave more in a gentleman manner because it's more sensitivity involved, and the patience is something that is must for all communication.
I would like to hear from you, Becky. I saw you laughing when you said that. Or do you agree with what Diane said about that, to be patient and more like maybe quiet, not quiet, but be nice?
Yes, actually, I smiled when Diane said that women, I think in general, we know exactly what we want and we'll try different ways to get what we want. And it's different when you're working in the male-dominated environment. You don't always get your way, and, but the discussions are healthy. We'll have discussions. I wouldn't say we would argue. We will just present different opinions and different perspectives, and then at the end, the decisions are mutual. We will make a decision that we will both agree on, or everybody will agree on. But it's a healthy discussion. I think you need that in any work environment. You need to challenge your colleagues or present them with different perspectives before the decisions are being made.
Thank you. Je vais juste le dire en français. On a parlé des officiels. Alors, au niveau des entraîneurs féminins en Ontario, les statistiques sont assez bons. Presque 50% des entraîneurs sont féminins. Pour les officiels, ils aimeraient avoir plus d'officiels femmes, et Rosa nous a parlé de son expérience comme officielle certifiée, qui va aussi certifier d'autres officiels. Diane a insisté aussi sur son grand rôle pour plusieurs tournois, malgré son agenda qui est occupé. Et un dernier point, Diane disait qu'il fallait être patient pour travailler avec les femmes, pas trop pousser fort. Et Betty nous disait que c'était plus une question de perspective et d'échange, et qu'à la fin, les décisions étaient prises en consensus, mais que c'était un peu normal dans un environnement de travail où il y a plusieurs hommes de s'affirmer puis de dire son point de vue pour échanger. You have one, Betty, you are the only woman on the board on OTTA. What are the next steps to have more female as officials or leaders in the club or at OTTA? Do you have some plan that you would like to do?
I wouldn't say I have a plan, but every opportunity I get, or even Diane mentioned when he goes out to the clubs and have those one-on-one meetings with the clubs, I think both of us are trying to promote and present them with opportunities to complete the referees or the official courses or the coaching courses. Actually, I think, Diane, you had the coaching course last month, I believe, and one of the coaches from that Oakville Community Table Tennis Association, she took part in that because we were able to reach out to her and convince her to be part of the coaching association. So I think direct contact with the clubs, as well as having those opportunities during tournaments, having those discussions with people at the tournaments, with parents, trying to convince them that they should get involved, especially when the kids are playing, to help to become an official or become a coach. And that way we'll grow table tennis within the province.
I have a question about, you talk very well about opportunity that you want to take to talk to people and convince them. You mentioned earlier that some award were for female coaches, female officials, female athletes in Ontario lately. How can you support that financially? I know that you had some funding by Table Tennis Canada from Gender Equity program. Is it sustainable to do it next year, for example, to help and support financially the coaches that wants to be certified, the officials that want to be certified? Is it an issue for you to support them financially, or not so much?
I think this is a question for Deanne. I'm not involved in finances, but just so you know, we are planning another function at the end of this month. It's a repeat from last year where those awards will be presented to the female players, female player of the year, most improved female player of the year, as well as for boys as well, and the coach of the year for volunteers, for our sponsors. But I can't comment on finances, so Deanne, over to you.
Like it's finances are usually I don't like to speak of OTTA finances for a very simple reason, because it's so low funded that it's sometimes it's embarrassing to speak about this. I did some research 2 years ago, and it turns out that maybe except Newfoundland, where I don't have enough information, that OTTA is for sure in a lower, third of all 13 provinces, how it's funded. So that's really discrepancy comparing the how big is the province. It's a discrepancy with the results, the outcome, what is OTTA giving to the province. But it's like this, it's, crying doesn't help. So speaking, so every dollar there it really helps a lot. So yes, we have some coaches with the funds help to get this certification or challenge. Some went through certification, introduction to competition, some went through challenge, some still need to complete the challenge. I think it helps really a lot because, like it's looked like a $500. It's because of those coaches are all students or very young professionals. So for sure this helps. Let alone about the fact that I believe that the professional coaches, we should give them education almost for free and ask them to, they will bring so many players, to entry fees, to developing players, that it's the best possible investment. When it comes to officials, that's we are practically putting some kind of this year, although we didn't get money from a women's grant, we put some kind of development discretion fund that we give to most active officials. So there is no special funds for female officials. We gave to one. We gave actually only for 3, and one of them was female. But I feel that if there is some funds, that can little bit boost, sometimes you need extra push to come to this 50%, So yes, so that's the only thing what I can say about funds, and it's
in fact, I did not want you to show us your finances, but my question was more about, do you think that it's a barrier for having more female involved?
It's a barrier for the whole Ontario, and then it's a barrier for the female representative even more. Mm-hmm. The best example is if you look for now we have for under 9, under 11, under 13, almost same number of athletes. But when you go a little bit more, like usually and Joyce is here, and I would like to hear her opinion, but girls starts thinking about academically earlier, and think about the scholarship and how to do it and everything. So I think they're also the ones who are first feel more responsible to, maybe consciously or subconsciously, I don't know, but they start thinking about this earlier. And they leave table tennis, at least competitive high performance program, earlier. So I believe, if there is really funds to help them to stay longer, that can help a lot. Same is for officials, like if we can have more. We have one female, for example, official that maybe she's bragging too much, but she doesn't want to pay for the for the gas money. And all these small examples like this, with extra dollar here or there, if you push, you would keep all these people or more active or really, not leaving our sport. Maybe I'm too optimistic about this, but I believe it's true. They're not in sport for money, but some dollars will help not only to recognize their effort, but there will be very pragmatical help there. So I don't know, Joyce, what do you think? I would like to use this opportunity because you are here. What is your thinking of this on for example, for young athletes, for young coaches, about finances and help for finances?
I think that having the finances to support athletes, like female athletes, especially if it starts at a younger age, I think would definitely be very beneficial. And I think it'd be very motivating for athletes to continue playing for longer, because I think as tough as it is, finances is definitely a real issue as to why certain athletes don't go into playing table tennis past the age of 18, for example. So I think that definitely funding would help.
Thank you, Joyce. Because with your project, I asked you that question because with the project and the funding that you have, you made some very nice results, and you supported coaches, you supported officials, you supported leaders. And I was wondering if will it last for the next years? Are you worried that because the project is finished now, that you will have to work harder or do special things to keep it alive? So my question is for, because you have a nice way, you have a nice speed now, you have more female and you have more female coaches, more female officials, more female leaders, but how can you keep that momentum that you created? I don't know who wants to talk about that.
There is saying, I will try to paraphrase this because it's saying from my language. They say, you don't have nothing, so you have to be successful. So it's very, very simple. I think that OTTA finances are better now than 10 years ago, but it's really not something that can allow in any moment to be content and to say, okay, we are fine. But you find a way. And as I said, many times, it's not only what we use very well, I believe, and Betty helped me recently with this a lot, and Rosa also with everybody we're talking about her in 2021 on national and provincial level, what she did on most important tournaments, is recognition. It's time that you recognize someone's effort. Sometimes it's more important than overall money. And since we don't have overall quite a lot of money, then we really need to be careful that this timing to give someone the recognition, is it a photo here, is it a phone call, is it sometimes tell, okay, can you help with this, but it's really not only, but practically showing appreciation and trust that this job can be done. And it's a surprise, especially on females, with the female officials, coaches, and volunteers, because they are never asked, I believe, 10 years ago, it's the loud guys, not the silent goes through, but, the loud guys, they are in our eyes, in our ears, so they somehow always get priority. So I believe that this can change. This has already changed, and we need to make sure that we don't lose this. That's how I see it.
Okay, Betty, what is your opinion about that?
Well, finances and funding is always very important for any projects that you wanted to do, right? So in lack of finances, you have to find other ways. You have to be creative and, hoping you're going to find people that are dedicated with passion for the sport that can dedicate the time. Time is money as well. So, I cannot speak to any of the funding that DN is usually chasing after, successfully or not. But, from volunteers and from people working with OTTA officials, coaches, they dedicate their time. So it's sort of like, and DN actually touched a very good point. Sometimes recognition is more important than money that you can get, right? But we usually look at funding for athletes, for programs to help clubs, because they are struggling after the pandemic. So everybody is not in very good situation right now. It's getting better, but hopefully the funding that might come from the government or even TT Canada, if there is anything, it will definitely help to run and sustain those projects that we have on the go.
Thank you. Alors, la question du financement, c'est quand même une question importante. Mais Diane et Betty ont ajouté que, bon, malgré le fait que les finances sont parfois... le financement, c'est toujours important pour mener à bien les projets, mais ils vont, si en l'absence de financement, on doit être créatif et trouver peut-être de reconnaître le travail des bénévoles, le travail des gens qui s'impliquent. Alors, la reconnaissance, c'est aussi important. Maybe we are getting at the end of our presentation already.
Sorry, guys, I'm practically leaving the room. I have to go to jury meeting where is draw for our para team here in Costa Rica.
Oh, okay.
I send a message here on a question and answers.
Oh,
and I really need to leave. And I don't know if everybody can see this, what I wrote, or only you, Karin.
Yeah, you have to go to your jury meeting. So we will say, you said you would like to thank TTCAN for funding, and to Rosa and Betty and Joyce for unselfish work and role model that they provide not only for female participants. Thank you so much, Diane. We wish you a very good jury meetings. We wish the
Canada.
Yeah, good luck for the tournament. Thank you very much, Diane, for having take the time to be with us tonight. Very appreciated. So maybe we can just finish with some tools that I wanted to show. I'm not sure if, oops, I don't know how to do that. Okay. Just wanted to say, because in your final result, OTTA, you said that you used some tool from Women in Sport, Women, I never know the name of the Canadian Women in Sport. So some tools that have been used by you. I don't know, Betty, if you want to maybe comment these tools, or maybe it's just Diane that knew that these tools.
Yeah, I think just Diane was using these tools.
Okay, but I will try to show you, because it's a very interesting. Can you just see the website now?
Yes.
Yes, okay. Because I think it's a very interesting website. It's a very interesting organization that promote women in sport. And they created some very interesting tools that all the association can use. They have a lot of resources online. They have also some e-learning. They have some videos. So I would encourage you to take a look at the website and maybe try to find some very interesting tools that you could use. I know that Diane used that tools for the project that they did to have more women in the OTTA. And I think it's very interesting to look at this. If I go back to my presentation, just try to come back. I just, okay. Now can you see, so there's different tools, and the interesting things about that is all the tools are in English and French. You can find some tools for board, you have some tools for policy, you have a lot of resources, and I think it's very interesting. So that we are at the end of our session. That's time for question. Joyce, do you want to, do we have some questions from people that are attending? If not, I have some questions for you, Rosa and Betty, if you have time still.
At the moment, I don't think we have any in chat.
Okay, Joyce, do you have some questions for Betty or Rosa?
I have one question, which is there any kind of like female campaign that inspires you or has inspired you in the past to want to like encourage female participation in sport, or specifically in table tennis?
Not really. Nothing comes to my mind at this point. But, you know, being a female, I take every opportunity I can get to have those interactions with other women, being within table tennis or outside, to get them involved, and parents as well. So it's not really a formal campaign, but I take every opportunity I can get.
That's really great to hear. Like, on the note of there not being one in particular, what would you want to see in like a campaign that's supporting females?
Well, I think I thought about it because I wanted to start a project within OTTA, but then I realized it needs to be larger. It needs to come from the top to encourage really girls, young girls. And that came from me seeing those girls competing in under 9 category or under 11. I would like to see more of those girls competing in the tournaments. So actually OTTA just started running those categories more often, either within the CAPS competition, which are regional CAPS. We will have a tournament upcoming, Winter Cup, which will have those categories. And I think with the end, speaking with all the clubs, trying to figure out how can we find those girls outside of the current environment. Do we go out to schools and try to solicit girls from the schools? Do we get in touch with, you know, Canadian or provincial organizations for girls and have demos, table tennis demos for them to get them involved in table tennis, or maybe offer some programs to get the girls involved in some way in table tennis, maybe not playing, but maybe doing some kind of event for them to get them familiar with the sport. So I'm still thinking about it, and I think it is important if our national organization, OTTA Canada, can help us formalize some kind of a campaign, not specific to the province, but across the country, so all the provinces can encourage or get the girls involved in table tennis. That would promote the sport within provinces as well, hopefully getting more girls competing in the future.
That's really great to hear. Thank you.
Je vais résumer en français ce que Joyce a demandé. S'il y avait une certaine campagne pour les femmes qui les avaient influencées, et il n'y avait pas vraiment de campagne. Betty parlait plus d'essayer de prendre chaque situation comme une chance d'impliquer plus de parents, plus de personnes qui vont s'impliquer de plus en plus, donc y aller de façon plus informelle que de façon formelle. Et Betty ajoutait que s'il y avait de l'aide de Tennis de table Canada pour faire une promotion plus large dans chacune des provinces, ça serait aidant. When you talk about some Table Tennis Canada initiative all across the country to help and support, what would you like to see from Table Tennis Canada to help you to have more female?
I think it's just coming up with some ideas. Like I think provincial organizations don't have marketing departments. They don't have other people to help. These are all volunteers that are working in those organizations, and sometimes we don't even know where to turn to, how to promote the ideas. And as you heard from the end, the finances are low and the funding is almost not there. So we cannot go out and hire a marketing department to help us package the idea or to get it out there. It needs to look professional before we start something. So that's the help I would like to ask for from OTTA Canada. And like I said, it wouldn't be province specific. I think it needs to be national initiative to promote gender equity and coming up, packaging some ideas and getting them out there to get the girls involved in sport. Because Joyce, as you know yourself, the girls, and not just girls, the boys as well, they stop playing as soon as they go to university. Mm-hmm. Even to give them some kind of a roadmap or options so they don't have to stop. They don't know what the options are. Right now, I'm going to university, I'm gonna stop because education is the most important to me. Are there any options that we can present to those students, like maybe extend the university for another year and support them financially so they can afford to extend the studies for one more year, spread the courses across 5 years instead of 4 years, and still compete at national or international level. Mm-hmm. I don't think the players are aware what the options are. I don't think anything was presented to them with those options to consider. And we have, every year we are losing players to university. They just stop. Mm-hmm. Because the education is most important. So another initiative like that is how do we keep them in table tennis competing throughout their studies?
That's a good
But we
question.
get them engaged and keep them engaged. And again, that would require some financial help, and for those who would be interested, and hopefully we can get there one day. But right now, the students or high school students, it's, I'm going to university, I'm gonna stop. That's the answer we get.
Yeah, I think that's the case in every province. That's quite unfortunately. But about the marketing and the campaign, Joyce, did you hear that?
Yes, I did.
Do you have something to add?
Not particularly. I think that we have, I think we've communicated with you a little bit about it, but we did start a Women in Table Tennis campaign, and I think that it's always really nice to gain feedback about what we can do in the future or even now to better promote it or increase its effectiveness.
Because we, Joyce, I asked you to talk about the campaign that we started. I think it's a very nice campaign. We had the two female, but in fact, last year, you must have seen the campaign where Joyce is featuring with woman, Canadian woman, Canadian.
Canadian woman
Canadian
in
woman in
sport.
sport. She's got it all. So that was the first. I think that was awesome to have Joyce featuring in that campaign. That was national wide, and that's what make us the idea to make a campaign, a TTCAN campaign that we call the Woman in Table Tennis. And we had the Ivy was the first woman that was featured. And the second one was a young coach from Quebec, Emilia Ramalette. So I don't know if you saw it. The only thing that we could say is if you see the campaign, if you can share the links that we have on social media or in your contact, I always send all the information to all the provinces and territories. And we encourage you to spread the good words, because a campaign, when it's seen, it's successful, and when it's not seen, it's less successful. So we are also some volunteers. Joyce is a volunteer. We have Ivy, Torsten, and myself. We are working for a year on that campaign, and I think it's a pretty good campaign. Every month, one female is featured. Rosa, if you want to be featured, we are waiting for you. And Betty, also, if you want to be part of the campaign, we are still taking some person. And every month we are having one different woman. We want to highlight the athletes, coaches, the administrators, officials. So we just started it, but that's good to hear that it's something that you talked about and you thought about that, Betty. Joyce, do you want to add something?
I think you said it all. We really would love for more like officials and administrators to be involved with this campaign, because our goal is to highlight not just like the athletes that you see on a regular basis, but everyone that works behind the scenes as well. So we'd love for you to be featured.
Yeah, so see, if you want to have the posters, the videos, it's all on our social media and website. So just take a look and you will see that.
Okay, I will.
So thank you very much to have been with us tonight. That was great to have you. Thank you, Rosa. Thank you, Betty. That was great to hear from your experience and just to share what you did and with your very good result. I would invite you to our next rendezvous is the Coach Development Professional schedule, and it's January 11 with the yearly training plan. Alors, notre prochain rendez-vous, c'est au sujet des ateliers de développement professionnel des entraîneurs. C'est le 11 janvier. Vous pouvez vous inscrire et il y a aussi l'infolettre de Tennis de table Canada que vous pouvez consulter. Thank you very much.